Thank you for joining me here today. I will be giving you my opinion on the Warhammer 40,000 Armageddon Angels of Death DLC campaign now that I've completed it and can give you a more informed opinion about this. As you've probably noticed if you watched me play through all 10 of these missions, I became rather fatigued on this DLC content and I really was not very impressed by it. I give it a 2 or 3 out of 10, so that's pretty discouraging right there. I certainly wouldn't recommend buying this game at full price if they have an excellent sale going on and you can get it for a couple of dollars, then maybe it would be more beneficial and the price would be appropriate for the quality that this game is. But if it's full price, it certainly I don't think is worth the money. There's lots of issues which I'll list here momentarily. But first, we'll go over some of the positive aspects of the DLC. First of all, it's a Warhammer 40,000 game, so if you're a Warhammer fanatic or enthusiast, then you'll probably like this game and give it some slack just from those aspects there. It's also kind of nice that you get to play as the Blood Angels here. You get 10 missions purely with those units. So, unlike the Imperial Guard campaign, where they had some different units that you've used from the beginning, have lots of experience, you may not have selected and chose to use all the Blood Angel units. So this campaign will give you the opportunity to try out some of those units if you wanted to. And since you get to use them from the start, you'll get the benefit of getting up the experience levels of them to make them more viable units. It also gives you an idea of what the Space Marines were doing, specifically the Blood Angels, during the war on Armageddon, so that you can see that they're purely not supplemental forces to the Imperial Guard, but in fact were launching their own campaign and only intermittently interacted with the Imperial Guard. Another thing that I liked about this game is that they started to put in some of these bonus objectives, which I think is fun and makes it a hard and new challenge and does kind of switch up the gameplay a little bit. However, I think the way they rolled out the bonus missions is completely wrong. In their mind, they're like, we don't want to tell you how to get it. We're not going to hint at it. We're not even going to tell you that if there is a bonus mission on this. We just want you to randomly play around and see what happens. I think that's a garbage, just completely lazy way of doing it. I don't find that enjoyable at all. Maybe you guys do, but I like, bonus objective. Kill this unit here. Go over here, do this. Secure this for X amount of turns. Make it expressively obvious to me. I don't want to waste my time with guesswork trying to figure this out, having to go through script on the dialogue trying to figure out and piece together whether there's actually a bonus mission here. And people online aren't really sure even how to complete some of these objectives, so it was just completely idiotic to have to guess, especially given that this game was released so long ago and they still hadn't told you exactly what you had to do to get these bonus objectives. I thought that was garbage, especially because you're on the rope so much on the harder difficulties. You need to know exactly what you need to do. You need to calculate your losses and know if something's worth your time trying to get it. Like the Wyvern, I would argue that that unit is not worth the challenge it is to get it, and it's kind of a garbage unit. The only reason I kept it throughout the whole game is I wasn't sure quite what my options for other units were going to be, and if I were to go back and play this game again, which I'm definitely not going to, I would have just trashed that unit, gotten those points back, and then used a regular Space Marine unit, like another Dreadnought. I think it would have been a lot better use of those points and item slots. So, in terms of the cons, clearly there's a lot of issues. Overall, the game is more of the same. Uh, they didn't really alter the gameplay significantly other than the bonus objectives, which we've already discussed. Mostly, capture the victory points, hold the victory points, kill all the units. I mean, that's all there is for objectives in this game overall. And the balancing issues were horribly, horribly abundant here. At least in the main campaign, you'd have excellent artillery units that you can bombard guys with. If you wanted to kind of memorize where the units are, you can move up, and as long as you didn't trigger them, they wouldn't ambush you. But in this game, that's not an option. They come at you in waves, they feel overwhelming, and that's fine, except for the other balancing issues become more abundant at that case, and we'll kind of review those now. I think especially on these harder difficulties, giving the orcs the unlimited ability to replenish is a horrible, horrible thing. don't have enough points to be able to deal with this. And even if you did, or need to make a decision, they being um, Slytherin, do you have units that have a ton of guys? Because some of the orc units would have 160, 180 units in them. Or do we give them the ability to replenish? I don't think you can do both of them, especially if you're going to have those orc units not be triggered and attack you and just camp out because they're sitting there 2 or 3 buildings in or in cover, and you're sitting there attacking them with dreadnought after dreadnought artillery, and you're just whittling them down turn after turn after turn, and you may not be able to kill these units. And given that there's such a short amount of turns to complete your objectives, you have to save and reload, and that's just not enjoyable for anybody. And I think that also comes to another con of this game is their RNG is just way too range. The range is way too wide. You can go from attacking and doing like 1 damage to 20 damage, and you have to save and reload again. You could attack with 4 units, not be able to kill a unit, reload, and then you attack with 1 unit and you completely wipe out the enemy units. I think having a random number generator for some amount of damage is kind of fun because it leads into chance and you don't know quite what to expect, and the game isn't quite as predictable. However, when your range is so wide like this, it doesn't become fun. It just becomes random, completely random. And then you have to save and reload, and that's just a lazy mechanic, and they need to really have tightened this up. Then it comes back to the orcs camping out at certain locations. I certainly understand them wanting to camp out at certain victory points, but then having, 10 units just hiding in buildings and refusing to come out and get you, that's not what orcs do. They see your units and they should just come and slam you in waves, just like what happens in the Imperial Guard campaign or in some of the other campaigns in the DLC, or even some of the other missions in the Angels of Death. But these ones that they're like, we're not going to activate them, you got to come get them. That's garbage because you don't give the um, Blood Angels a good artillery unit to sit back and attack them with. Um, your Blood Angels are way too expensive units to just randomly throw in there willy nilly to get into close quarters combat. And then with this replenish ability, it just, I'd have to replay levels 4, 5, 6 times in addition to having to save and load attack rolls, 20, 30 times to get one that was worthwhile to be able to complete a mission. That's just not fun, and I wouldn't recommend playing this on this hardest difficulty to you guys because it's not going to be enjoyable for you. It wasn't enjoyable for me, and I just don't think it's a good use of your time. Now, if Slytherin was actually going to go back and revamp some of these things, that would be great. And I think it's kind of unfortunate that there's this gentleman that really likes Warhammer games. I guess he likes this game. He created some balance changes to it, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, look, there's this guy. He's adding some extra weapon slots and stuff. So maybe this game's going to be better now. We're going to help endorse his update here, and if you will put it on our website, and if you want to download it, great. Quite frankly, for the rest of the DLC content, I think I'm going to actually use that because with the balancing issues now, I can barely play this game anymore. I'm getting so burned out with it, but I certainly want to be able to give you guys a playthrough so you know what to do if you want to challenge yourselves to be able to beat this game. Again, other issues that I think I've noted before is the lack of support trait with some of the other units who I felt should have had it. For example, the Cyclone missile launchers, in the Orc Hunters campaign, the missile launchers there had the support trait. I think that was something that they intended to have the Cyclone units have, or they should have at least, because there was no good anti vehicle and super heavy support units. I think if the Terminators had that, we certainly would have used those as a main unit in our military forces, and it would have really helped with some of these missions because I felt we had some weak issues with taking out especially the super heavies, but some of the vehicles in general. And I think that would have made a better balancing issue for this game as well. Um, Finally, the Space Marines just felt really weak, and I thought that was really unfortunate. And I felt that if they to make these DLC campaigns better, you need to make it get changed a little bit. So making your Space Angels or your Space Marines, especially the Blood Angels, feel more powerful. Even if they clean the map a little bit, I think that's okay at some aspects because these are the Space Marines. They're supposed to feel overpowered, But you can have sanguinary guards, which are some of the most elite forces that the Blood Angels have. They could attack Gretchens, which were in lore wise, are like just fodder. They're garbage units. They retreat all the time. They're just really weak, pathetic creatures that the other orcs push around. And you would have your whole squad of sanguinary guards attack the Gretchens, and half your sanguinary guards could be killed. And this is a unit that's worth like one of the most expensive infantry units in the game, attacking one of the cheapest units in the game for the orcs. And half of that squad would be killed, and then Gretchen would suffer like 20 casualties. And since they would have 180 of them, you're telling me you have 3, 4 Terminator squads around them too, having to attack them, and they're all getting killed off by Gretchens? It's just stupid. And that's kind of how this whole mechanic with the shots thing works. I felt, I think it's noble that they tried to make the game different, and that was they tried to do something, but the balance issue of it just was not good, and they should have been able to play this through on the hardest difficulties, see that there were all these problems and have fixed them. So I'm going to stop ranting right now. I certainly am only one person. I want you guys to be able to form your own opinions about this game. If you guys play through this and you strongly disagree with my very critical summary of this game, please comment below so other people can benefit from that. I certainly want you guys to form your own opinions. I know that when I was looking on Steam, there's a lot of people trying to figure out if they want to spend their hard-earned income on this game. And I think being able to see at least some of these playthroughs, which is part of the impetus I have to try to put these uploaded onto YouTube, is so you guys can make a better decision, so you're not all throwing away your money if you watch this and say, boy, this isn't a game I want to play. That way you can spend it playing other games, because I think that's ultimately how developers are encouraged to make better games. Is if people aren't going to buy games that are poorly balanced, then it's going to encourage them to make a better game and actually trial the games more. So thank you for watching. Again, if you feel differently, comment below so other people can benefit from a diversity of ideas. But overall, pretty disappointing on this DLC, and I hope the rest are going to be better. I think the next campaign I'm going to play is actually the Orcs, which is the War of Armageddon from the Orc campaign, and then come back and finish these DLCs, because I'm just so tired of the balancing issues on this game right now that I need to just take a break from it. Have a good day, and I hope you enjoy these videos. Please give it a like if you want to support me, or even subscribe. Thank you.